Hey everybody, welcome back to Creating Scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. That was my phone. This is November, and like I said, November we're going to talk about parallax, occlusion. It's the 3D perception on a 2D plane. So when you're looking in the window, as you pan, walk by it, drive by it, taxi by it, whatever, it looks like the room is in 3 dimensionals. Okay? But before we start that process, which can be kind of daunting, we're going to talk about some basics, all right? And I'm going to show you how to basically make a 3-dimensional room. It's going to be a 3D model in a sense, but you're using textures, and most of you guys know how to do texturing, okay, applying textures to different geometries, all right? So we're gonna work on that a little bit today, and I'm going to show you how to use Krita to extract portions of a photograph of a room and map those to different walls that you're going to place in your model. Okay. So this tutorial is going to be using both Blender and Krita, and I have downloaded recently the newest version of Krita, which is 5.1.1. Krita is free at Krita.org, and there's a link in the description of the video. It's, like I said, it is a Photoshop clone in a way. It doesn't do everything, doesn't do 100% of what Photoshop does, but I would say 85 to 90%, okay? And you always have to remember when people give you percentages that 49.5% of statistics are actually made up on the spot. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, so we're going to be working in Krita today and also in Blender. So let's get started. Now, what we're going to do is, I'm in Blender right now. And by the way, Blender 3.1. For those that have questions about the exporter in newer versions of Blender, 3.2 or 3.3, apparently a lot of people are having issues with the Asobo exporter in newer versions of Blender. It works perfectly with 3.1. So anyway, just so you know that. All right, so we're in Blender, and I have the default cube up, and I turn my units to feet. So sorry, all you metric people. So I'm going to make this cube 12 foot by 12 foot by 12 foot. Well, 12 foot. And let's make the height 8 feet. That's average size of a ceiling here in the United States. And let's GZ and move that up half, which is 4 feet, so we're on the ground. All right. Then we're going to select how many walls do I have? I'm going to have 3 walls because the front wall is going to be the window. So we are going to select this front face. I'm in edit mode. I'm sorry. Again, I did not turn on key casting. So let me do that real quick. All right, there we go. Sorry. All right, so we're going to, I think this is the front. So let's go to top. All right, there's the front. All right, so I did a tilde-T to go to top view and then rotate it to make sure that this was actually my front wall. All right, we're going to go ahead and delete this face. Okay, so we just have an open box, just like this. So we got the back wall, we got the right wall, we got the left wall, we got the ceiling, and we got the floor. All right, let's just do a save, and I'm not going to get fancy with this or anything. So we're going to save, and I'm going to put this in my 5 alpha 1 guinea pig airport folder here. And I need to create a new folder in there, and we'll call it room 1. I don't know if I already have one. Yeah. So room 1, we'll go into room 1, and we'll call our model room 1 and save that Blender file. All right. So this is where we are right now. All right. So let's get out of Blender now, and let's open up Krita. And Krita opens up like this. With the new Krita, things are a little different. I'm not going to explain too much about it, but we get some new things in the Krita 5.1. All right. But what we're going to do is I have an image that I've downloaded, and it's Blue Living Room JPEG. So I'm going to open up that that photo. And this is just something I got off of the internet. So if you're looking for interiors of rooms that you want to use as textures, just type in room images and go at it. There's tons of them. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some things in Krita that a lot of people don't know exists. Okay. I'll be pausing every once in a while to catch my breath, get a drink, and all that kind of stuff. All right. So I'm going to show you some things in Krita. We're gonna put some guidelines in for our image, because here we have our back wall, we have a right wall, we have a left wall, and we have a ceiling, and we have a floor. All right. I want to divide this image into individual images. Okay. So if you come up to a ruler up on the right, up on the top or the left, if you left mouse click and drag down on the ruler, you get these green lines, which are called guidelines. All right. And I'm holding down the mouse button, and I'm dragging this line down, and I want to drop it down to let's say the top of the wall. Now, this room has some crown molding that kind of makes it kind of goofy. So I'm just going to come down to this corner right here, and I'm going to release that green line. So I have a green line of where the top of the wall would be. All right. Then I'm going to go back up to the menu ruler, and I'm going to left click and drag another line down, and I'm going to go down to the bottom of the wall. And I'm going to release the mouse. All right. Now, this line here represents the top of the wall. This line is the bottom of the wall. Now, I want the left corner and the right corner. So I'm going to come over here to the menu, to the ruler on the left side, and do the same thing. Left drag a line all the way to this side. And then I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to drop a line right here on this corner. All right. Now, this photo is in a perspective mode. I mean, a perspective view, right? Okay. What we're going to do is we are going to convert this perspective photo into flat sides. Okay. Non-perspective. Okay, and you're going to see how I do that. Now, so we have the back wall is our guides are making our back wall, and they line up pretty well. Now, the photo's not perfect, all right, and I'll show you here in a second. Now, I want to put a guideline for the top of the right and the left wall. So, from this point of perspective, the wall follows this line, and I want to create a corner up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag on the ruler, drag down another green line to the top of the wall right here. Okay, now it's not going to be perfect, all right, because this photo is not perfectly straight on in perspective. All right, if we look at the right side, all right, I'm going to go down to the top of the wall over here. If we follow that line across, it doesn't match the bottom of the crown molding on the other side. All right, it's the photo, all right, but it's close enough for what I'm trying to show you. All right, so we have a guideline. Now, this edge, all right, we want to do the same thing for the bottom of the wall down here, right? All right, so I'm going to come up to the ruler, left drag and bring down this green line down to the bottom of the wall over here. All right. So now we have a guideline at this bottom here and here. All right. Now we need to do the same thing on the left side, except the left side, it's not going to be, we need to put side guidelines. So go to the side ruler and drag, and let's bring that all the way to the right until we have a good intersection. All right. Now, if we look at the bottom, this intersection is right where the wall and the floor come together. And it's the same over here with the top of the wall. On the left side, it may not be as perfect, okay, because of the photo. So we're going to drag and drop, and so we have this green line, and you're just going to do a best guess, all right? So I have a series of green guidelines that help map out my walls, right? All right, now, in order to work with these guidelines, because we're going to snap anything that we make to those guidelines, if we come over here to the right, you see grids and guides. Under guides, you want to lock the guides. So click lock the guides. That means that you won't inadvertently move these green lines when you're clicking on the screen. Like if it wasn't locked, you notice we get the arrows. I can move those lines. All right. If you lock those lines, you can't move them. All right. So that's what you want to start with. Now, we also want to turn on Snap to Guides. So click that. All right. Grids we're not working with in this exercise. Grids are something else. These are guidelines. Now, what we want to do is we want to create an image for the back wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the rectangular select tool right here. And we are going to click in this upper right-hand corner of the back wall. And we're going to click in the bottom and see how it snaps to those guides. All right. And I'm going to release. And now I have a clip rectangle. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to here to Edit, Copy, Sharp. And then I'm going to go Edit, Paste as new image. All right, so now we have a new image right here. That's just the back wall. Now let's go back to our living room and let's go to Select, Deselect. So nothing. So our clip box is gone now. Now we're going to come over here to the Polygon tool, Select tool. All right, and we're going to come over to the right wall, and I'm going to click the upper left-hand corner of that wall. All right, so I have my rubber band box, and I'm going to come down to this intersection, which is the bottom of the wall. Click here, but then I'm going to go diagonally to this corner and click this corner here. All right, and then we're going to come up to the top of the wall, click there. And then to return to the beginning, just hit enter. So now I have a perspective cutout of that wall. Okay, yes, it has part of the couch, but that's okay. All right. Now we do the same thing we did with our back wall, is we go to Edit, Copy Sharp, Edit, Paste to New Image. Now, we get a brand new image, but that image is still in that perspective look. And we're going to fix that later. All right. Now, let's go back to our living room and deselect. And let's do the same thing for the left wall. We're going to do a polygon select. We're going to click this corner, click this corner, click down here where the floor and the wall comes together down here. Now, like I said, they're not perfect because the photo's not exactly right straight on, but it's close enough. And then I'm going to click the bottom of that back wall like that and then hit enter. And so now I have a perspective rectangle for the left wall. And I'm going to edit, copy sharp, means sharp edges. And I'm going to edit, paste as new image. And then we get a perspective image of that left wall. All right, go back to our living room and let's do our ceiling. Now I'm not going to do the floor because the floor will look kind of funky. All right. We could put a some other wood type of texture or flooring type of texture, but let's do our ceiling. So let's go to select, deselect. And let's select only this part. Don't worry about this part of the ceiling because we're cutting it off, all right? We're only going to do this part of the ceiling, all right? So we're going to do that polygon select again, and we're going to select this corner, the top of the wall. This corner, we pretend it's the top of the wall. It doesn't line up perfectly. Come on over here to this wall, click there, and then click down to the top of the back wall like that, and then hit enter to return. So this perspective view gives us a perspective view of the ceiling. So let's go to edit, copy sharp, edit, paste to new image. So now we have a perspective view of only the ceiling. Now, the next step is to turn these perspective images into straight up square images. All right, so we can map them properly to our wall, to our internal cube, right? So let me take a break for a second. Remember, we're going to take these perspective views and we're going to change them into rectangular or square shapes, okay? So we can map them to our cube. So let's go to the first one. The first one is our back wall, and it's already the shape that we want, all right? So we can easily just go File, Export, and let's go to the right folder. So I'm going to go to my projects and my scenery projects, 5 alpha 1, model lib, source, model lib, and textures folder. Okay. I might have done this before on that one. Yeah, I've already done that before, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And I'm going to call this room front. Okay, I already have one that's room front, so I'm going to save as and replace that one. Okay, so I exported that one. So I'm done with the front wall. All right, now let's not do the ceiling yet. Let's go to this right wall. And what we want to do is we need to turn this into a square. So we got a little bit of work to do. All right, it's not much. All right. We need some guidelines. Remember how we did guidelines? I'm going to come up to the ruler, left mouse drag, and drop that onto the top of the wall. And then I'm going to grab another one and go to the bottom of the wall. Okay, that's the front wall, that back wall or front wall, that's our controlling image. So we want to make sure that this is even with that. All right. Now, we need this wall to fit in this relatively square space, right? All right, let's lock our guides and snap to our guides. Now we're going to come over here to the what is it? What do I want? The layer transform tool. Okay, that's this box right here in Krita. And then I'm going to come over here to the right side and see this little symbol right here. This is the perspective tool. So I'm going to click the perspective tool, and you see the handles of our image. All right, they're all the way down here at the bottom. I want to take this upper right hand corner and I want to make it straight across to this one. I'm going to leave the left side alone because it's scaled correctly. All right, let's take the top and move it down. And if you hold shift, don't hold shift, just bring that down until you're even with the guideline and then release. All right, this corner stays up exactly where it needs to be. Now come to the lower right hand corner and left mouse and drag and bring that up to this corner. So what we've done is kind of undid the perspective view of that wall. All right. Now we need to do a little bit of trickery here. All right. Now, if I saved this, just like I did that front wall, if I save this out as a PNG the way it is, this bounding box of our image would cause our image itself to have this area here and this area down below. It would be transparent, but the file size would still be the image size would still be this long standing rectangle. But we want to make it more square. All right. So all we're going to do is come down here to the square select tool, and we are going to select our image just like this. And remember, we're snapping to the grid lines. See how that is? Okay. We're snapping to the grid lines over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit. We're going to copy sharp. And we're going to edit, paste to new image. And now we have an image of that wall that has no extra stuff. All right. It's just that image there. Okay. Now, the room it's 12 by 12 by 8, right? It's 12 in the X, it's 12 in the Y, and it's 8 in the height, right? But this wall here, it's too much of a square for the shape of our cube, right? So you can actually resize this image to be a little bit more proportional. And if you look down here, the 443 down here at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. The actual image size is 443 by 504. Remember, for Microsoft Flight Simulator, the image size has to be divisible by 4. All right. So this image size would not work for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we need to create an image that is divisible by 4, but the proportions, it's 8 feet tall and it's 12 feet long, right? So the height is 0.6 of the length, right? So we got to make sure that our new image has the same proportions. So if we want to look at proportions, I want to make this basically a 1K image. All right, you can make it as nice as you want. All right, but if a 1K image is 1024 by 1024, all right, but the height is 0.6 of the width, all right, so the width is going to be 1024, and if I wanted 0.6 of that for the proportions, I would get 614, okay, and that is not divisible by 4. So what I want to find is the next divisible by 4. And to make this easier, I know that 640 is divisible by 4. Okay, so we're going to make this, we're going to rescale this new image of our right wall to be, what is it, 1024 by 640. So I'm going to come up to image, and I'm going to scale image to new size. Okay, our width, we're going to change this instead of percentage. We're going to go to pixel, and I'm going to unlink the two dimensions so I can do those independently. I'm going to make the width 1024, and I'm going to make the height 640. Now, it's not perfectly in proportions, but it's close enough for what we're doing. All right, and then I'm going to hit OK. So it changes our wall, and yeah, and when you scale, it's going to stretch some things, but when we put it in proportions and make small little rooms that you're looking through windows, it's not going to look that bad. You can get better at your proportions. So let's undo this and find a better proportion that it doesn't look as stretched. It's still going to look stretched, okay? So let's go to edit and let's undo the scale and go back to where we were and find out what is. So if we go, let's get closer to the 614. If I, let's see, if I go to the 640, and let's subtract 24. I'm going to get 616. Is 616 divisible by 4? And it is. So let's go to layer scale again. Sorry, but it's, whoops, image scale. And let's make this 1024, and let's make our height 616. 616. That's close to 614. All right, it's still stretched. All right, but you can play with the proportions to make it look better. All right. Now we have a right wall, and now you can also remember the 1024 by 616 because you're going to use that on the left wall as well. All right, so we can take this image that we have now and we can file, export, and this is room right PNG. So I'm going to click room right PNG because I already had one there, and I'm going to replace that with our new one. We're going to hit save, and I'm going to replace the one that's already there. Okay, so we are done with that one. Which one am I on? Right here. Okay, so we are done with that one. We are done with this one. These are only scrap because I have my final images. We should have our left wall. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the right wall. All right, so we need some guidelines. So I'm going to drag and drop the top guideline to here, to the top of the wall, and drag and drop the right one to the bottom of the wall. Is that the bottom of the wall? It's close enough. And now we're going to lock the guides and snap to the guides. And we are going to go over to our transformation tool. We're going to turn on perspective. And we are going to move down the left side now. We're going to drop that down to here. Let that snap right there. And the bottom, bring that up a little bit. Oh, I had the wrong one. I made a line in the wrong spot. So let's edit, undo, edit. Okay. I need to move my guide. I put it in the wrong spot. So this needs to come up here to the bottom of the front wall right here. Sorry. Okay, now we'll go to transform, perspective, make sure lock guides on, perspective, and let's move these again. Let's do this again. And let's move this down to there. And let's move this up to there, so we have kind of a rectangle square type thing, right? And then we're going to do the square select, rectangular select, and we're going to select this image. It's not perfect, I understand that. And we are going to edit, copy sharp, edit, paste into new image. All right, now we need to scale it. Now, see, the image isn't perfect, so that's why that bar, that curtain rod isn't straight. It should be straight, but it's not. Now we need to image, scale, and make sure that these are unlinked. And we're going to change this to 1024 by 616. All right, so it stretches that out. And then we are going to file, export, and make that the room left image right there. If I didn't have one, I would just type in the name of the PNG, hit save, replace the old one, and accept the compression. All right. And we're done with that image. And we're done with this one. Now, all we have left is our ceiling. Okay. Now, the ceiling is going to be 12 by 12. Okay. So it's going to be 1024 by 1024. Okay, because we don't have the height of the wall to worry about. But we need to do the same thing with our ceiling as we did with our walls. Okay, so let's add in our guidelines. And we want the front wall to be our reference. So I'm going to drag this over to this corner. And then grab another one and take it to the other corner. All right. Whoops, I clicked outside. That's why it didn't drop it right there. Okay, and then I'm going to lock the guide, snap to the guide, and then we're going to go to transform tool and go to perspective, and we're going to move this left top corner over to here and our right top corner over to here, as close as I can get it. All right, so there's our ceiling. Now we need to extract that and turn that into a square. So I'm going to use my rectangular select tool and select these two opposite corners, edit, copy sharp, edit, paste a new image. Okay, there's our ceiling. And we're going to resize. Now this is where it's going to look goofy, but we're going to resize our image, rescale it, and we're going to go 1024 by 1024. Okay, it's really going to stretch things. Okay, so there is our ceiling. Now see the crown molding, it looks kind of goofy, but you get the picture of how you can manipulate photos. All right, and now we're going to export this one out. Export and room ceiling PNG, save, and replace that one. Yeah, compression's good. All right, now, so we have our ceiling, so we don't need our guinea pig, and we're going to get rid of that one. Okay, so we've cut up our room in and got it out of perspective and turned it into square. All right, this may not be a perfect solution, but it does. This shows you how you can use Krita to do this stuff. All right. Now, the one thing I do want to do is we are done with the living room for now. We need to change the size of the image of our front wall. So I'm going to go to Open File, and I'm going to go into our project folder, Scenery Projects, 5 Alpha 1, Package Sources, Model Lib, Textures, Texture, and I'm going to choose the front wall, room front, because the image is not correct. See, it's 943 by 506. We need to make this 1024 by 616 as well. So we're going to go to Image, Scale Image, change that to 1024 by 616, and there we have it, and we're going to re-export that to front wall. Where's my front wall? Front wall, room front, and replace the old one with the new one. Okay, so we just manipulated a perspective photo and turned it into the square version of it, or the rectangular version of it, without any angles, right? Now, we're done with Krita for now, so we can close that, and we're going to open up Blender. Now, in Blender, okay, we have our room cube. I'm not sure if my proportions are right, but that's all right. It's 12 by 8, all right? We need to go to select our object, go to Object, and let's apply all transformations. Okay, so everything's scaled, rotation, all that kind of stuff is applied. Now, what we're going to do is not select our cube, and I'm going to come over here to Materials, and I'm going to add in some materials. So I'm going to create 5 new materials. One for the floor, ceiling, 2 walls, and the back wall. So in material, I'm going to call front. All right. And for that material, I want FS standard. And for the image, I'm going to select our texture that we created for the front wall. So that's room front. Open the image. All right. Now, it's not assigned to anything yet, but we have the image selected. All right. So now we're going to come back up here. Going to do we're going to add a new material. And we're going to call this right. And we're going to come down here to standard material, MSFS parameter. We're going to choose our right wall. Right wall. Okay. We're going to come up here and hit the plus, add another material. And we're going to make this one left. Same thing, go to FS standard material and choose our left wall. Left, room left. Okay, we're going to come up here and add another material and make that, let's see, we got left, right, we need ceiling, so we'll call this one ceiling. Okay, again, MSFS parameters, standard, and choose our ceiling texture. Ceiling. Okay. We're not going to worry about the floor right now because we're just going to use a basic color for that for now. All right. Now we have that. So let's do a save. All right. Now let's go into our cube and go into edit mode. Tab into edit mode, and we are going to face select this face right here, okay, and we are going to assign front, see this front material, which was our front, we're going to assign that material to this wall, so hit assign. Okay, nothing shows up because I'm not on render preview. Now it's also like this, right? So what we need to do is we need to select all of our faces with A, and I'm going to shift N to recalculate the normals, and then down here you can't see it because I'm in the way. Down here you're going to get this recalculate normals. When you do that shift N, you're going to open that up and click inside, all right, and then you can close that out, all right. So that brings that image to the front. Now the reason that it's being mapped to all the faces is because I have not UV unwrapped this cube into individual pieces, right? So we're going to go to face select, we're going to select this face, all right, and we're going to right click and we are going to UV unwrap. Okay. Then we're going to open up the UV editor. We're going to move this up. Change this view down here to UV editor. Okay. And you can see our box right here that shows our polygon for our UV. Okay. We're going to select that face. Whoops. Select that face. And it is turned. We need to rotate that to the left 90. So we're going to rotate minus 90. That should... No, that's upside down. Okay. So we need to rotate it to the right. Rotate 90. Okay. So there's our back wall, but we need to map our square, our rectangle to our image, just like you would any other image. Turn this to nodes, vertices, and let's move those down. And then select these two and move those to the right. And scale our image to our wall. Okay. Now, okay, that's our back wall. Now we need let's do our front wall. So I'm going to select this one. Okay. And we are going to assign the right image to this one. All right. So I'm going to assign. So only the right wall is getting assigned to this polygon. All right. But then we need to right click, unwrap, and do the same thing that we did with our other one. Now I got to figure out which way this is going. Need to select the face and rotate it 90. Nope, minus 90 on this one. Minus 90. And move with the G to where we want our image. I think this is right. Yeah. All right, select these bottom vertices down here. Make sure I'm on vertex select. Select these, move those down. And then choose these and move these to the right. Okay. So we have the back wall. We have the back wall and the right wall. Let's do this left side. So up here, face select, select this one, and assign left image to that polygon. And right click, unwrap. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to go to vertex select, select all. And we need to rotate that to the left, I think. R minus 90. Nope. I always have a 50-50 chance I never get it right. So rotate 90. That's not right. Let's try this again. Select all, rotate 90. There we go. All right, and let's move that up here. Select these bottom vertexes, GY down here at the bottom. Select these here, move these to the right, like that. Okay. And I believe that is almost correct. All right. Now we need to do our ceiling. So we're going to select our face for our ceiling and select ceiling material and assign it to that polygon. And then right click, unwrap, and then down here, that should be already set. Yeah, that's already mapped correctly. All right. So let's drop this down, take a look at our room. So that gives you the 3D view of our room. Now for the floor, we can simply go to add a plus and call this new one floor. And let's just give it just a normal vertex color. I mean, if we had an image of a wood floor or a tiled floor, we can map that to that as well. But if we go to color, let's make it kind of a brown, kind of like that. Okay. And floor, assign, oops, I don't have it selected. Select this one, make sure I didn't screw anything up. All right, select this one, choose floor, assign, and then we have our floor. Okay. Then we can file, save. All right. So that's one way to take a perspective photo and map it so it looks like a room. Now there's a little bit of goofiness. I understand that. I really do. I'm not saying this is a perfect way, but it's one way that you can use and make a three-dimensional room without having to do a lot of modeling. All right. Now the next step would be to export this out to your model and then bring it into the sim, and I will show you guys that process later, but most of you know how to do that if you've been following any of my videos of exporting out a project. All right, but that is using Krita, and this is step one, or one version of giving a three-dimensional appearance. Okay, even though it's still 3D because it's a cube. All right. But the next videos, we're going to be what I want to say, using a two-dimensional plane that gives the 3D effect. But there's also one other thing I need to show you before we end, and that is we want to bake this cube. We want to bake the cube into one image. So on the next video, what I'm going to show you is the process. It's going to kind of, other than going into Krita and creating all these individual images like we did, there is like I said, all of these steps that I'm taking are some of the processes into creating a parallax occlusion image. All right. Now, try to explain this because parallax is confusing sometimes. All right. The next video that I'm going to show you. Now, this is simple image mapping to a cube, like most of you guys already probably know how to do. But we're going to do the same thing in the next video, but we're setting it up to bake all of these images that we've used with our cube into one single image. All right. But there's something else that we need to do in order to do that. The setup is a little bit different, but we're still going to use the images that we just created in Krita. Okay. But it's a little bit more complicated, but I want to take baby steps, so to speak, in this entire parallax process, because it is kind of complicated, and a lot of stuff I don't even understand it either. Okay. But we simply took a perspective image in Krita and turned it into non-perspective images and then mapped that to the inside of a cube. All right. Next video, we'll kind of repeat. We won't do the Krita stuff, but we'll repeat building this cube itself and the process to set it up to bake every image made inside of here to be one image. Okay, so I hope you guys found this useful. Some little tricks in Krita that hopefully you learned. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell for more videos, and share and comment and all that kind of stuff. And if you feel inclined to support me, buymeacoffee.com/myphysicalworld. And yeah, My Physical World has a Patreon page as well. And also I have myphysicalworld.gumroad.com is my online store, and I will be uploading some free stuff sooner or later. This month I'll be starting to add some stuff up there, but right now I have some maps that I created that are for sale. But anyway, I digress, and I thank you guys very much for watching my videos. You guys are awesome, and I will see you guys on the next video. See you later.